Hello everybody and welcome to this in-depth guide of The Shape from Dead by Daylight. This is a guide designed to help you understand everything about the Shape, including his stats, add-ons, perks, and strategies. This should help clear up any questions you have regarding anything the Shape has within his arsenal. The Shape is a licensed killer available through the Halloween DLC. He is a killer known for his obsessive perks and unique stance-changing power. He rates high on my tier list of the killer potential, as Myers not only has great power, but is relatively easy to play. You can see more of this down in the description down below, as there is a link to that video. He can also be a bit more complicated to understand as far as add-ons are concerned, but otherwise it requires little skill to utilize his power to its full potential. To understand the Shape, we'll begin with his stats as a killer. He is the only killer with 3 different stances that alter his stats slightly. At the beginning of the game, he'll start in Tier 1 of Evil Within that will be able to work his way up to Tier 2 and Tier 3. Compared to the other killers, Myers at Tier 1 rates at the second slowest killer at base. Clocking in at 103.5% speed, he is only 3.5% faster than a Survivor Sprint, which is the base 100%. This slow speed comes with the benefit of the lowest terror radius of any killer, 6 meters. This reduced terror radius allows for stealth grabs from generators and grants an easy approach to survivors for as long as they don't see him. With Myers being so slow, he has the worst lunge in the game as well, which only lasts for 0.1 seconds, which is nearly non-existent. Additionally, the Shape cannot gain Bloodlust in Tier 1. However, moving to Tier 2 Evil Within will remove this hindrance from Myers and bring him up to the standard 115% movement speed of the standard killer. Tier 2 also brings his lunge range to about the same at 0.6 seconds of a duration. Myers may have a similar stat as a standard killer, but he is also blessed with a much shorter terror radius than your average killer, running at 16 meters. The Shape is capable of getting much closer before alerting survivors of his presence, helping to end chases almost immediately. Finally, in Tier 3 Evil Within, the Shape is given an additional step in his lunge, giving him a total of 0.8 seconds of a lunge attack, and also vaulting through windows at 0.25 seconds faster, meaning it's a total of 1.25 vault. The biggest benefit that Myers has now is that he places survivors in the dying state from a single attack. He is also given a normal terror radius of 32 meters, but Evil Within only lasts for 60 seconds before returning to Tier 2. The Shape's power of Evil Within defines how he enters these various tiers. The power itself is simple. While using it, Myers will walk much slower, but will also begin to drain evil from survivors. In order to rank up to the next tier, Myers must stock at least 5 seconds worth of evil to enter the next tier. This makes a total of 10 seconds of stocking in order to reach Tier 3 from Tier 1. Evil gained is limited as each survivor only has so much to take from at the start of the game. In the total, the game grants 40 seconds in total evil spread amongst all survivors evenly. If any survivor fails to connect to the game, all survivors will equally gain that survivor's evil. At the start of a 4-man game, all survivors will be given 10 evil each. If one would not connect, each survivor will be given approximately 3.33 seconds of each, meaning each survivor will have approximately 13.33 seconds of evil to take. Once you stock a survivor for the first 5 seconds, you'll enter Tier 2 Evil Within. After another 5 seconds, you'll be placed into Evil Within 3 for 60 seconds. Once the 60 seconds expires, you'll return to Evil Within 2 and require another 5 seconds to get to Tier 3 one more time. A survivor will indicate how much they've been stocked by the aura that is revealed, white meaning they have plenty of evil to take or completely full, and red meaning they are nearly out or completely out. Stocking multiple survivors at once does not increase the speed in which you gain evil. Instead, it just spreads the amount of evil gained from all the survivors equally. Stocking 2 survivors at once for 2 seconds will only drain each survivor of 1 second of their total evil. Evil Within comes with a variety of add-on sets. These add-ons make changes from utility to immense unstoppable power. Add-ons do not always have a purpose of making him strong either. Others can be fun gimmicks that don't work within the meta, but have some interesting results if you're looking to have some fun. Our first set of add-ons is the Jewelry set. Jewelry add-ons focus on increasing your movement speed as you stock. Though these add-ons do not serve a high-tier function, they do make stalking during a chase slightly less of a pain, as survivors are likely to turn corners quickly. They combine well with just about anything, but shouldn't be wasted alongside the more potent add-ons. Next, we have the Hair set. Hair add-ons focus on increasing the duration of Evil Within 3, and while they do increase the duration, they also make it more difficult to reach that power in the first place. Combined with the Memorial set of add-ons, they can be the most devastating combination the shape has available. The Fragrant Tuft of Hair is without a doubt the most powerful add-on for Myers, as it allows him to remain in his powerful Tier 3 for an unlimited duration. It does come with some massive hindrance of an additional 10 seconds required to reach that power, meaning you'd have to completely stock at least 2 different survivors to their limit from Evil Within 1 to get to Evil Within 3. The evil required to get to Tier 3 that is increased by that 10 seconds only applies between Tier 2 to 3, not Tier 1. Tier 1 is never affected by the increased amount of evil to tier up. Therefore, Evil Within 1 always requires 5 seconds, while all the other add-ons that increase this amount will only affect from Tier 2 to Tier 3. Though the Tuft of Hair is also an ultra rare, you can still use the rare Hairbow to gain the largest benefit with minimal additional requirement. Hairbow grants an additional 30 seconds to Evil Within, while only requiring an additional 2.5 seconds of stalking. Additionally, when you exit Evil Within after reaching Tier 3 for the first time, you will only need to stalk for an additional 5 seconds to get the 30-second benefit afterwards, meaning you only need to reach the requirement of 7.5 seconds of evil one time on the first time going into Evil Within 3. Afterwards, it's always 5 seconds. Moving on to the Mirror set of add-ons, they're based on aura reading. For the first 3 listed, you stalk a survivor for at least 1 second, and their aura will be available to you for the designated time as long as you are in the correct tier of Evil Within. The Scratched and Vanity Mirror, on the other hand, serve a separate effect. Scratched Mirror is one of those fun add-ons that makes a scenario where Myers is likely to lose but will instead get tons of jump scares. Scratched Mirror does not allow for Myers to rank up to pass 1, instead he can see auras of survivors within 32 meters while stalking. This allows him to track survivors through walls and cut them off when they least expect it. You gain additional blood points in the game for running the add-on, which helps compensate you for a likely loss. You gain additional blood points in brutality hits and deviousness stalking. Vanity Mirror, on the other hand, is something you should outright ignore. Though this mirror allows you to boost yourself to Tier 2 with similar effects of Tier 1, it is far less useful and has some pretty bad side effects. First, the distance is heavily reduced to 16 meters, which is the same as Myers' terror radius at this point. The stealthy aspect here is essentially defeated without the use of perks or other add-ons. Additionally, his movement speed is slowed by 7%, making it painful to chase survivors with just 108% movement speed. This is even slower than both the Huntress and the Hag. It's recommended to avoid this add-on when possible, as it will just cost you quite a bit for being a very rare add-on and just be frustrating without the fun of being a jump scare. Moving on to the Memorial set, it's the more useful set and possibly best set, as they increase the speed in which you can gain evil while also being affected by the Tinkerer perk. The Memorial Flower and J. Myers Memorial are both the primary Memorial add-ons. The Judas Journal, however, is powerful but only affects the Obsession, which serves to assist you in gaining 10 seconds of evil in a normal game, and even though it grants you 30% additional speed, J. Myers gives you 20% across all survivors, plus running Tinker will give you the additional 10. Tinker affects evil gain speed by a percent indicated by the perk 1 time, so if you're running 2 Memorial add-ons, you don't gain double the Tinker effect to this stat. Instead, you get a flat addition. For example, Tier 3 Tinker gives 10%, and if used with J. Myers, as stated earlier, which gives 20, you will get a 30% bonus to your stalking speed. The Memorial add-ons also stack on top of each other, meaning that if you ran the Memorial Flower and J. Myers, that's 30% plus Tinker, you can have up to 40%, but if you're gonna run the Judas Journal, you can get a 30 plus 20 from J. Myers and Judas Journal on your Obsession and make that a massive stalking speed. This does affect Evil Within 1 evil gain, therefore you will gain tons of evil really fast. The Memorial set is something you'll want to focus on getting as you're going through the Blood Web. These are the best add-ons and can combine with practically anything. They complement the powerful ultra rare add-ons pretty well and reduce the time it takes to get to Evil Within 3. In fact, if you struggle at Evil Within 1 due to the lower speed, getting out of that faster is always beneficial, so running these Memorial add-ons really does pay off in the end. Finally, we have the Death set. These are a set of functioning add-ons that provide a unique bonus. Boyfriend's Memo, for example, works well with Scratched Mirror if you attempted to kill survivors in Tier 1, as it does increase the range of your lunge. Dead Rabbit serves as one of the most useful stealth add-ons, decreasing Tier 2 Evil Within's terror radius by 25%. The amount is adjusted after flat changes are made to the terror radius, so for example, Monitor and Abuse reduces the terror radius by a flat 8 when not in chase. Dead Rabbit will take effect after the reduction of 8 from 16, meaning that the terror radius reduction will be based on 8 meters instead of 16. Either way, the Dead Rabbit still serves a wonderful purpose of disguising Myers in his Tier 2 stance, allowing him to be more lethal than most killers, while also causing a larger terror radius while in Tier 3. Tombstone pieces are pretty unique, as they're the only add-ons in the game that allow a survivor to be killed outright. Once in Evil Within 3, you can approach a healthy or injured survivor, and once close enough, it will prompt you to kill them. Simply press the prompt button and you'll initiate the insta-kill that will remove them from the game. This counts as a memento mori but does not require a hook to perform. Additionally, you can still attack normally, you just have to do it at a distance and start a lunge, but your quick attack is essentially converted to a kill. Now, once a kill is made, you'll be kicked from Evil Within 3 and returned to Evil Within 2 with refunded evil from the prior game. It should only take you another 5 seconds to reach Evil Within 3 again to make another kill. The amount of evil required does add on with the hair set as well. If you get a slightly increase from the hair add-on and apply this tombstone piece, then it will be a total of 10 seconds to reach Tier 3. It isn't recommended to run these add-ons together as they make it difficult to reach Tier 3 and heavily limit how often you can reach this, as there is a limit of 40 seconds in the entire game that you can take. Judith's Tombstone is very similar to the Tombstone piece, however, it does also lower your movement speed by 9% for the entire game. The major difference is that Judith's Tombstone does not remove you out of Tier 3 after making a kill. Instead, if you were to combine the tuft of hair with the Tombstone piece, a kill with a Tombstone piece will remove you from the unlimited duration of the tuft of hair. Judith's Tombstone ignores this, however, and combines well, giving you an unlimited killing potential at, of course, a 9% movement speed debuff. Although there is a massive drawback to running both these ultra rare add-ons, which is it takes an additional 20 seconds in order to reach Tier 3 from Tier 2. Not to mention that 9% slower movement speed, it makes it relatively difficult to pull this off in a rank 1 match. There is an achievement for killing all survivors with your own hand, which will require you to use the tombstones to make all the kills with the unique kill function. The Memorial set combines well with the tombstones to help assist you in reaching Evil Within 3 faster and getting the kills that are needed. Now on to the perks. The Shape is known to be an obsessive killer, and with him came the introduction to obsessions. Essentially, the perks create special rules that regard these obsessions, and each rule is unique, as an obsession by itself really doesn't do anything and they can't exist without an obsession, add-on, or perk existing. Only one survivor may be the obsession, and they're typically the catalyst to many of the various effects. Even add-ons have obsession traits like Judith's Journal. First, we have Save the Best for last, and it was a great perk upon its release, but today it's been nerfed to the ground and is hard to utilize properly. Essentially, the perk activates after 20 seconds of being in a chase, and if the chase is broken for more than 5 seconds, the perk deactivates. Additionally, the perk cannot activate if the obsession is dead, and while it's active, it grants you a cooldown on successful attacks. This is overall not a worthwhile perk. Though the reduction in cooldown on successful attacks is useful and does make killing survivors easier, the requirements to have this effect pay off are not consistent or hardly controllable. At times you make this perk work and it works well. Other times you can never land the attack after a chase has been broken for 5 seconds, or you attack within 20 seconds. It just doesn't synergize very well with other builds and has a massive risk of being useless. Play with Your Food was another great perk that belongs to Myers. After its nerf, it's quite underwhelming, and as you can see, there's a bit of a pattern. Essentially, when you begin chase with your obsession and allow them to escape, you get a token, which increases your movement speed up to a maximum of 3 tokens. But every offensive action you take removes a token. This does not include Evil Within from Myers, but it does include powers from other killers such as Chainsaw or Hatchets. This comes at a massive cost as well, since every time you get a token, the ability goes on a 10-second cooldown before you can get the next token. So you have to wait 10 seconds to start the next chase and then end it in order to get the second token. You'll likely be wasting well over 30 seconds attempting to max these stacks out. And finally, he has Dying Light, and out of his 3 teachable perks, this one is viable with specific conditions. Essentially, for as long as the Obsession is alive, they have a boost to the speed of their altruism, but once they're killed off, all other survivors get a penalty to repair, sabotage, and healing. This perk works wonders with a Tombstone add-on or Memento Moris. Otherwise, it is hard to utilize, as sacrificing a survivor the normal way can be too time-consuming. If you kill the Obsession too late, the perk itself is likely to be wasted if they only have to fix one generator at a slower speed. So consider bringing a Memento Mori or a nice Tombstone to end the Obsession's life a little earlier. The base strategy with the Shape is to reach Evil Within 2 as quickly as possible, and will achieve this by approaching survivors undetected if possible. Sometimes they'll see you if they are being very alert. Use the terrain to hide your body and attempt to walk behind walls. Rely on sound to listen to survivors if they're nearby, and search around generators. If you can, stalk through the windows. If you can see a part of them, you don't need the full body, just a piece of them. You can gain Evil and stalk them from there without being noticed. Once you achieve Evil Within 2, the idea here is to play as a normal killer. You want to be able to stock up as much evil as possible, but you don't want to transition to Evil Within 3 out of the blue. The best time to accomplish this is when you're being looped. Many survivors stay around and run in the open around pallets in hopes to extend loop and waste your time in chase. You can instead choose to stalk them and build up power. There is no need to force this, as they'll try to hide and you might end up slowing yourself down a bit too much. You can really utilize this when they're dropping pallets or vaulting through windows. You can get a good second of stock each time they make this attempt. Take a brief moment to just stalk what evil you can from them, and then continue chasing as normal after they leave your vision. Always stock enough just to prevent them from using the loops or force them to leave the loop, and if they stay around, build up enough evil to prepare for that instant Evil Within 3. Claim your first victim without the use of Evil Within 3, and you'll want to hold this 99% so that the next survivor you come across, you can pop the power immediately and take them out without having to chase in the first place. Certain situations call for different uses. Just because you see someone doesn't mean you have to use it immediately. If you're defending a hook, you can hold it until a survivor makes a mistake and attempts to go for a save. It's even better when they make a basement save and you can take out multiple survivors with a single pop of Evil Within 3. Altruism is weak to the Shape, however there are things you'll want to be wary of even if that's the case. Tier 3 may put survivors into a dying state instantly, but borrowed time does counter this. Be sure to aim your killing strike on the altruistic survivor instead of the one that just got rescued if you can't guarantee that they don't have this borrowed time perk. Be sure to be aware of how many pallets you are around. Evil Within 3 is heavily countered by pallets, as you have to break them to get through them. Activating it when close to a survivor instead, when they least expect it, will help eliminate a chase completely. You also don't have to waste your entire Evil Within 3 breaking pallets if you're in with Evil Within 2, and only use 3 when you have a clear shot. Additionally, while making loops, unlike majority of killers in this game, Myers' Evil Within does not count as an offensive action. You can stalk survivors and maintain bloodlust or play with your food without any problems, so the additional movement speed will only help you further. If you happen to stack a couple bits of bloodlust, you can take that opportunity of extra speed to stalk up to the point you need to be at, and then take the survivor out normally. The major focus of practice for Myers players is to properly stalk survivors around loops and exiting from Evil Within 1 as quickly as possible without having to chase survivors and wasting time in the chase, making minimal gain in evil. This can make a drastic difference when it comes to being successful with the Shape. Stalking survivors can be rough, but knowing that distance does not dictate how fast you stalk survivors could be relatively important. For as long as the aura appears, you will gain the same amount in the same rate as you would with them up close, even if they are far away. There is a limit on how far you can stalk, but you get a good distance before this happens. It's also important to remember that Corn will act as a wall and block stalking, so attempt to avoid these areas if you're trying to get out of Tier 1. The Shape also synergizes very well with certain perks that other killers might not benefit from. Monitor and Abuse serves as a very popular choice amongst the community. It reduces an already minimal terror radius to an all-time low. Shape at Tier 1 essentially has no terror radius, and the only warning survivors will get is his heavy breathing. His Tier 2 will be down to 8 meters from 16. He gets an unusual benefit from Nurse's Calling as well, since it is a powerful tracking perk, but Myers puts it to great use because he has a lower terror radius. A common counter to Nurse's Calling is to not heal within the terror radius of a killer, because Nurse's Calling is 28 meters long and the typical terror radius is 32 meters. But Myers Tier 2 hides under at 16 meters, meaning it's hard to hide from a Myers running Nurse's Calling if you're attempting to heal. No one escapes death is not exactly a recommended perk, but don't be discouraged from using it. If you run it, it can be quite the surprise to people who expect you to just be using your Evil Within for a similar effect. Though, with practice you shouldn't need this, so do try to avoid it and use other perks to work together in order to achieve your goals. One of my favorite builds is Unstoppable Myers, and I've named it this simply because once Myers gets rolling, there's no real way to stop him. I run Enduring to prevent stuns from affecting me much around pallets, Brutal Strength to break pallets faster, Ruin to slow survivors down, and Remember Me to keep survivors in for longer. The Fragrant Tuft of Hair is my trump card here, as I will have Infinite Evil Within 3. We'll top it off with J. Myers Memorial to help us get to the Evil Within 3 faster. With this all combined, the idea is that they are stuck with us for as long as possible and cannot use pallets nearly as efficiently, as we can take the stuns to the face and recover faster and break the pallets even faster. With Myers' additional vaulting speed, range, he becomes a behemoth and absolutely terrifying. If you wish to see the results you're looking at now, I'll put a link down to this video below. This is a run that I did before, and I've done this build on stream several times. This is one of my favorites, but it does require an ultra rare Fragrant Tuft of Hair, so I can't perform it all the time. You can find other ways to make it work and adjust this as you see fit, but this is my favorite build that Myers has available. There are a near endless amount of combinations we could come up with, but this was one of my favorites that I really wanted to point out. There are other stealth builds you can run to keep Myers' terror radius at an all-time low without focusing on your Evil Within 3. Instead, you'll just be stalking people. Don't forget the jump scare build with the scratched mirror and boyfriend's memo really makes it fun, but make sure that you're running No One Escapes Death in order to keep your movement speed up at the end, and play with your food can be relatively helpful when you find your obsession. Make sure that you play around with these perks and know what you're going for. If you stalk a survivor too much, make sure that you prioritize their removal from the game. They only have 10 seconds, and once you've drained them completely, you won't be able to drain them of any more. If you kill a survivor that you failed to stalk at all, this becomes a problem as you lose all of that evil since you can't stalk it off them once they're dead. Let me know if you found this guide helpful. If you have any additional questions, please let me know in the comments down below, and I'll be sure to answer them when I can. And don't forget to share what your favorite builds are for the shape with everyone else so that we can all strategize together. What killer would you like to see next? I can help break down the numbers of their add-ons and help you better understand their power. Place your vote in the comments down below. And don't forget to subscribe. Hit that bell notification button if you want to be notified when the next video comes out. You can also check out the recent tournament that was hosted with the playlist link down below. Thank you all for watching, and as always, good game.